It began like most petty dramas, not with a crash or an explosion, but with a letter. A white envelope, glossy and self-important, slapped against my front door with enough adhesive to survive a hurricane. I peeled it off, eyebrows already raised. The return address confirmed it, Rosewood Grove Homeowners Association. Inside was a printed notice in a font so aggressive it could only have been selected by someone drunk on authority. It read, "Notice of non-compliance, unauthorized RV presence on driveway." I blinked. My perfectly legal, parked for the weekend registered vehicle was within the 7-day visitor limit spelled out in the HOA handbook. But as I'd come to realize, facts weren't Elise McAdams' strong suit. Power trips were. Elise, the self-appointed president of our HOA, lived 2 houses down in a home that looked exactly like every other beige and brick clone on the block. The only difference was hers had 8 cameras installed outside, covering every inch of our cul-de-sac like she was guarding a nuclear facility. Her justification for the violation? Your RV's shadow disrupts the visual harmony of the street. Visual harmony? Like the HOA was conducting suburban symphonies and I just tossed a tuba into the orchestra pit. At first, I tried diplomacy. I highlighted the RV clause in the handbook and offered it to her like a peace offering. Elise looked at it like I'd handed her a used napkin. "Oh, those guidelines have been informally updated," she sniffed. Informally? Like HOA bylaws were written on cocktail napkins during Chardonnay happy hour. By the following weekend, other residents had mysteriously received citations. Carl, the retired bus driver, was flagged for an improper flag angle. Marisol 2 doors down? Overly expressive garden gnomes. Elise wasn't targeting violations. She was targeting people. And I was target number 1. The RV, it seemed, symbolized everything she couldn't control: freedom, mobility, self-reliance. And that terrified her. I moved the RV to my backyard. She responded with another letter, this time with a grainy, black and white screenshot from her surveillance camera. It claimed the RV was obstructing community green space. Said space? A patch of dead grass behind my fence that hadn't seen a child since the 2010 census. Then came the fake citations. She printed faux parking tickets with official-looking seals and slapped them on my RV windshield. Unauthorized vehicle. Subject to immediate tow. At first, I laughed. Thought it was a prank. But Elise wasn't joking. She hosted a neighborhood meeting titled Operation Suburban Purity. Her PowerPoint included clip art of an RV labeled Rolling Blight. She claimed RVs were a gateway drug. First an RV, she said with theatrical flair. Then dirt bikes, then plastic flamingos. Half the room was there for the free mini quiches, but she still pushed forward, like this was her moment. And for a while, she had me second-guessing everything, checking bylaws, measuring property lines, confirming my RV's wheelbase like I was prepping for an FBI sting. The irony? I was. That RV Elise hated so much? It wasn't just an RV. It was a mobile federal command unit. A bureau-registered asset. I was a systems consultant on rotation with the agency. When I wasn't on deployment, the unit stayed with Messecure, sealed, and disguised as a civilian recreational vehicle. It wasn't for camping. It was for surveillance, encrypted communications, and emergency field ops. But Elise didn't know that. Not yet. She kept escalating. Emails, flyers, community posts comparing me to a domestic insurgent. And I documented everything. Every citation. Every meeting. Every HOA rule she twisted like it was origami. I was building a case because Elise wasn't just being annoying. She was dancing on the edge of a federal wire. Her biggest mistake came the following Tuesday. While I was at work, she hired an unmarked tow truck. Claimed it was pre-approved by the HOA. It wasn't. The driver hesitated when he saw the federal plate on the dash. Elise, full of smugness and holding a laminated form, told him that's just a sticker to scare people. Then I got the alert. My phone buzzed, mobile asset breach. Vehicle engaged. I raced home. Sure enough, the tow truck was already dragging the RV down Rosewood Drive. Elise strutted behind it like a victorious general. I barely parked before she marched toward me, handing me a fine outlined with glitter stickers. "You've been warned," she said. I didn't say a word. I unlocked my phone, tapped the FBI SecureLink app, and triggered a field alert. Minutes later, a black SUV pulled up. 2 agents in suits stepped out. "Where's the RV?" one asked. Elise crossed her arms. "Excuse me. This is a private neighborhood." The agent held up a badge. "Ma'am, you may have just interfered with federal property." She went pale, like the sun had left her skin behind. The tow truck driver unhooked the RV mid-street and sped off like he was escaping a heist. Elise stammered something about community integrity. The agent said, "You tampered with a mobile surveillance unit during an ongoing investigation." And just like that, her war on visual harmony became a federal incident. But Elise wasn't done. Not even close. 3 days later, she held an emergency Neighborhood Integrity Council meeting. She passed out flyers titled Community Infiltration, Know the Signs. Her opening statement? "We have a mole in our midst. The RV is a Trojan horse." She claimed I was a plant from big government sent to monitor dog waste compliance and rogue sprinkler systems. She had a whole wall of red yarn, arrows, and bad clip art showing how my RV's presence coincided with events like Amazon deliveries and the neighborhood dog park getting remulched. Coincidence? Absolutely not, she declared. The audience, 5 bored retirees and a teenager who came for the cookies. She distributed a checklist titled RV Interference Symptoms. It included sudden Wi-Fi boosts, vanishing squirrels, neighbors receiving mysterious Amazon packages. She created a counter-surveillance unit called the Eyes of Rosewood, which consisted of her niece, and one guy who thought it was a poker club. Meanwhile, I was still documenting every fake badge she flashed, every time she trespassed to deliver compliance orders in a thrift store pantsuit. She even accused me of drone surveillance using hummingbirds. She left voicemails for the HOA board claiming I had a bunker under my shed and was decoding neighbor blinks. Then she showed up at the FBI field office with a binder, demanding to speak to someone about the operative disguised as a homeowner. The receptionist, who knew me, texted, "She thinks you're Jason Bourne in cargo shorts." It only got worse. She tried to stage a digital HOA takeover, logging into the neighborhood site at 2:47 a.m., reinstating herself as president, and creating phantom board members named Winston and Clarabella, her cats. She then began issuing digital fines for patriotic landscaping violations and mailbox decor deviation. What Elise didn't know was the HOA site had been temporarily synced with the mobile unit for encrypted audit documentation. Translation: she didn't just access a website. She breached a system tethered to federal equipment. The Bureau called it escalated civilian obstruction. Elise called it Tuesday. Agents returned, this time with warrants. They seized her laptop, router, and 3 SD cards labeled Operation HOA Reclamation. She fainted on her welcome mat. The neighborhood watched in stunned silence as she was escorted back inside. Every citation she'd ever written was reviewed. Every HOA meeting audited. Even her laminated decor guides were subpoenaed. Her cousin, who called himself a lawyer but had only ever defended himself in a parking ticket appeal, tried to file a cease and desist against the entire community. His defense in court? Karen is just a misunderstood patriot of law and order. The judge blinked. "Counselor, this isn't a therapy session." The courtroom laughed. A few neighbors cried. Elise ranted about trampoline placement and crosswind flag etiquette. In the end, the verdict was unanimous. Guilty of unauthorized system access, impersonating federal authority, and tampering with protected data. Her sentence? Probation. Community service. A 10-year ban from any residential committee or administrative role. The gavel hit. Elise was done. And Rosewood Grove finally breathed. The RV? Still parked in my driveway. Only now it's celebrated. We gave it a name, the Guardian. A plaque beneath it reads, "She was called an eyesore. She became our protector." And just like that, the community once divided by flyers and fear became united by feathers, gnomes, and a steel-boned RV that brought down the wildest HOA tyrant suburbia had ever seen.